Hey, hey, I am Bridget, and if you are watching now, you are watching the replay. So you can drop hashtag replay just so we know that you were able to catch it. So I'm going to give a little introduction story before I jump into everything. So this past weekend, my family, hey Audra, my family went camping. We went to a race and camped for the weekend. And I have a little boy, he's 4. His name is Tristan. Hey guys, thanks for joining. So, Tristan has learned basically that every woman that we see should get a sample of our product. So, then we were sitting in the race stands in the bleachers. Hey Kelly, and Tristan's like, Mom, I've seen like 100 girls and you've not given them samples. Like, okay, first of all, like, he's on to something that I need to like pick my game up. But we were sitting basically beside this one particular girl, and he kept saying, Mom, give her a sample. Mom, give her a sample. And it was loud. I mean, you can't hear anything really. So, like, I knew striking up this conversation was going to be kind of awkward with this stranger sitting next to us. So finally, I gave him a sample, and I was like, here, kind of motion for him to go give it to her. So he walked over, and he tried to give it to her, and she kind of looked at it. She took it from him and looked at it, and she's like, oh, no, thank you, and handed it back. He walked over to me, and he's like, she didn't want it? And I was like, I don't know, bud. And I tell you the story because, first of all, my 4-year-old got rejected, and he wasn't upset that he got rejected. He was just like thinking that she was crazy because he knew that we have a good product and she didn't want it. And he was like, what? So first of all, I'm like, okay, I need to adopt more of that attitude. But I'm not gonna lie, I got a little bit salty for a minute because not only did you reject my amazing product, that I think is amazing, but you also just rejected my kid. But he didn't let it faze him. So I just thought that was a good example of a story of how we should react when we do get rejected or when bad things happen. Like, we can think that they're crazy or that the situation is crazy, but like not to let it get you down. So that kind of leads into what Audra asked me to talk about. So I'm going to pause right here. I'm going to tell you guys, hey, I'm Bridget. Hey girl, hey, right? Who turns down a 4-year-old? I think she's crazy for many reasons now. But I am Bridget. I am the Senior Director of Team Go For It. And I am chugging along, working my way towards Executive Director. We'll be there before you know it. So hopefully next time I do a training for you, I'll be saying I'm Executive Director. Right, my other amazing product. So Audra asked me to come on here and do a training and to tell a little bit about my story and about how to remain positive in the face of adversity. Yeah, at first Audra said, talk about how to be consistent in diversity. And I was like, do you mean like how I try to like always change things up and do different things? And she's like, no, I mean like your story, like all the stuff that you have going on, you've got this and this and this, but you still push through. And I was like, I think you're meaning adversity. And she's like, yes, that's the word. So I'm telling you that she asked me to do this training and to tell you these parts of my story that people that know me and most of my team knows, but it's not stuff that I just put out there all the time for everybody in the world. Yeah, I told Audra, I was like, that's kind of an oxymoron, like consistency and diversity stay the same and the different, but we worked it out though. And the reason I don't tell all of the details of my story is because I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. But I feel like sometimes it's important to let people know certain aspects so that they kind of understand where I'm coming from and what all I have going on in my life. So like I said, I am a senior director. I have a team of, we just hit over 100 stylists. So I'm super excited and so proud of Team Go For It. I am a wife. I've been married for 10 years. I'm a mom to a 4-year-old amazing little boy who is constantly busy and constantly on the go and constantly talking. Y'all, he does not stop talking. And sometimes I just Like, quit responding just to see what will happen. And it's like, Mom, 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 do you hear me? Mom. Like, sometimes it's exhausting just listening to him talk. But he's very busy. I work full time. My full time work schedule is a 4-day work week. That's the nature of the field that I'm in. I work at a dentist office, and our work weeks are most dentist offices are 4 days. So I do work what is considered full time in my office, and my mom was just recently diagnosed with stage 3 pancreatic cancer. So been trying to help in every way that I can take care of her. My brother lives in Boston, but is down right now for everything that we've got going on. So I tell you all of this to tell you I'm busy. I get it. We're all busy. Like, if you are a woman, if you are a mom, if you are a daughter, if you are a friend, if you are a sister, work at home, work outside the home, like, I get it. We're all busy, and we are in the middle of a culture and a society that expects all of us to do more and be more and multitask and do 10 things at once. And y'all, it's a lot to juggle. I promise you, I get it. And that's why I want to tell you all of the details of that part of my life and my story right now, so that you will understand that I can relate. You might have different stuff going on, and it might be more severe, less severe, but I understand where you're coming from. The other thing I want to say is, we all have crappy things happen a lot of times, and I'm one of those people that they say everything happens for a reason, and sometimes I feel like finding that reason is hard to pinpoint, or to say, this was a specific purpose that this happened. But I do feel like everything that we go through in our lives prepares us for the next step, or for what's coming down the road. And we might not always find that reason or that meaning, but in one way or another, it got us ready for what's to come. So those are some of my basic life philosophies that I try to hold on to when the crappy things happen, when, your plates get full, when you're wearing all the different hats and you're like, I got so many hats, I don't have room to place all of them. Those are some of the things that I try to do to keep a positive attitude about things. And I just think life in general, like I said, it's hard. I mean, we think about celebrities, or the people that you idolize the most or look up to the most. Their lives are hard too. Like, I promise you, you probably cannot think of any one person who has absolutely everything in the world that they want. They may have the money, but they may not have the relationships or the family, or they may not have the job that they want. I mean, think about the celebrity deaths and suicides and ODs. I mean, the people that we look at, and the athletes, and all these people that we have, as role models and idols, and people that everybody as a, society looks up to, things are hard for them too. So guys, we're not alone. So when you think that you're going through something that nobody else is, or nobody else understands, I just want you to know that there are people out there that do understand, and we do get it. And if you ever need somebody, just a listening ear or a sounding board, I will be that for you. If you've taken the colors test, I'm very blue, I'm very relational, I'm nurturing, I'm mothering. That's just part of my personality. So if you ever need, an ear or just somebody to vent to, I will be that for you. But I do want to tell you, things get hard at times. Nobody has it all figured out. Nobody has it all made. And this training is gonna have a lot of cheesy sayings that we hear all the time, or memes or graphics that we see. But I feel like we can find a lot of truth in those, and we can find, yes, Audra's orange. She likes the recognition and she likes the rewards. I like the warm, fuzzy hugs. Well, I'm also a square though. So if you went to conference, You don't have to give me like a real hug. Like we could like side hug or virtual hug. um, I forgot where I was going with all that, but I was going to say that, you know, we find meanings in the sayings and phrases, and there's reasons that they are popular sayings and phrases because a lot of people can apply them to their lives. So I'm going to give you some others that I'm going to talk about. You hear, when one door shuts, open another one, or find a window. So I want to tell you, like, but don't hug me. We can start hugging. No, I hug some, but I'm not like overly, especially if I don't know you. It's kind of weird. But no, when one opportunity seems to come to an end, don't let that get you discouraged. Don't put everything don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't let everything hinge on one sale or one party or one person. And don't get defeated if your idea of what you think is going to come about doesn't. Because there's always another option. There's always another avenue that you can try. Another one is we plan and God laughs. And whether you're religious or not, I think you can find the meaning in that. Just to say that, you know, you can try to plan all you want and it's not going to go according to plan. That's just life. Again, it's hard. It's crazy. My best friend and I in college had this thing where we're like, life is weird. It is. Another example of that, this evening I told Audra, she sent me a message to check in with me because she knows I have a lot going on, and she was like, I just wanted to check on you and see how you are. And I was like, I'm just crazy right now. I knew I had a lot of things I needed to do this evening, so I planned to go through the drive-thru for dinner just to make life a little bit easier. And I get home and I start taking out all the food, and they left out my son's food. And if they had left out my food, I just would have figured out something. I would have found something else, but they left out his. And once you've promised your kid chicken nuggets for dinner and you don't have any chicken nuggets at the house, you got to go back to the restaurant and get them. Because your 4-year-old doesn't understand that they left out his food. So what I thought was going to make my life easier, because that was my plan, completely made it even more complicated. So just to show, I mean, you know, sometimes you look at people and you think they've got it all together, or everything just falls into place or works out for them. And it really doesn't. I've got some notes here, and I was just going to look to see. Oh yeah, I put it over here. As I was gathering all my thoughts, I had a couple of things I didn't want to leave out. My husband and Dad both have always said, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all, talking about themselves. But I think a lot of people can relate to that, because especially when you're in the middle of a situation, you feel like that you're the only one going through that, or nobody understands exactly what you're going through or what your path has been. When it comes to our business, I want you to think about this. Another saying you hear is do or do not. There is no try. If you go into something with the mentality of I'm going to try to do it, or I'll try that, then you've already given yourself an option of it not working out. So I want you to change your way of thinking to I'm going to do it. And for me, one of the things that I have found, not intentionally, it's just part of my personality, but I think it's one of the things that has kept me going in this business and has helped me remain positive and remain consistent and, you know, to continue looking forward. I've told my girls on my team, whenever I'm working on my next promotion or my next rank, I'm not only working on that next one, I've already looked at the one beyond that, because I always want to be planning and thinking as to what's coming next. So it's not an option of if I make this next rank or I'm going to try to make this one. It's no, I'm going to make this one and then I'm going to do this one. I'm always looking ahead, and I've told some of my girls, you know, you could do this. This is in the bag, or let's look at to see, you know, what's next. And I feel like sometimes they're overwhelmed by the thought of something bigger could happen. And they're like, well, I don't want to get my hopes up, or I don't want to set unrealistic goals. And I completely understand that. I understand that it can feel defeating if you have a goal set and then you don't reach it. However, I think if you're not dreaming big and if you're not going for the big picture, then you're never going to get there, or it's going to take you forever to get there. And we're right in the middle of a business and an opportunity that if you're willing to put the work in, then you can achieve your goals and you can get there. I guarantee you faster than you would ever dream possible. I never thought I would be sitting right here right now. When I started with this company, I wanted to pay an extra bill or two each month. I had no intentions of having a team. I had no intentions of making the amount of money that I'm making. And I just didn't think that any of this was possible. I mean, I saw Audra was growing a team. I saw that Monica had a team. There was, Rockstar Katie, who's still Rockstar Katie. And even now, like, looking at her status, I'm like, sometimes I still have those thoughts, like, Katie's doing amazing. And I would love to be at the level that Katie's at, but I don't know if I'll ever be there. Why not? She started somewhere too. I mean, you've got to dream big. You've got to have something that you are working for and that you're going for. Shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll land among the stars. You got to have that big, huge, scary goal, and you've got to keep your eyes on the prize. I told you I'm going to get really cheesy. I'm going to give you all of the cliche sayings and everything, but I feel like they're so true. And if you can hold on to these things in the tough times, and if you can remind yourself of these things, then that's going to keep you going. You got to look back at your why. Whether or not you've said it out loud, whether or not you've written it down on paper, I guarantee you probably at least 95% of people in this business and in network marketing didn't start just because they were bored and didn't have anything to do. And if they did start because they were bored and didn't have anything to do, it's because they wanted to gain friendships and relationships. Like, that's an important why. That's something that is a driving factor and a driving force for people. But most of us come from, something bigger, whether it's financial freedom or getting out of a job or getting our husbands out of a job or, being able to retire. We have something big that is at the core, whether we've spoken it or not, whether you've put it out there, and if you have not, I encourage you to do it. Mine was in me for a long time, and I knew what it was, and it was in my heart and it was in my brain. But when I went to conference this year, I spoke it out loud. I cried the whole dang conference because it was so important to me, and it was so, like, such a driving force that it's one of those things that it's scary that once you say it out loud and other people have heard it, like, they're gonna know if you don't do it. So I feel like your why should make you cry a little bit. I feel like it should be scary. And your why doesn't have to be the same as anybody else's. But your driving force behind that, those emotions, and that thing that gives you the push and the oomph to even make the leap. You made the leap. You're already here. You made the leap. So that thing has got to be at the center of everything that you do to keep you grounded when the crappy stuff happens. Because crappy stuff's going to happen. It's life. I tell my husband all the time, he gets so upset that things don't go our way, or it seems like other people have stuff handed to them and we have to work so hard for it. And I'm like, nobody told us it was going to be easy. And I want to ask him, like, who told you that in your life? Like, where, like, I know your background. I know where you come from. I know how you grew up. We're right there in that together. Like, we've known each other forever. People ask me how I met him, and I honestly can't tell you, like, one specific time that I met him because I've always known him. So I'm like, I know you. Like, nobody ever said, hey, Rocky, this is going to be easy. It's going to be a piece of cake. It's going to be a walk in the park. Like, no, I don't know why he has that idea or other people have that idea. Like, life's hard. It's crappy sometimes. And, like, even having a child, we talked about, do we want to bring a child into this world? Because they're going to go through tough stuff. But just like you're preparing your child for the tough stuff that they're going to face, sometimes you have to tell yourself the same things too. You got to keep on going. Just like earlier, I forget exactly what it was about but Tristan, we were talking about something. I was like, you just got to keep trying. He's like, yep, you got to try and try again. At 4 years old, I feel like, we've already taught him that. And if he gets that, then as adults, we kind of have to remind ourselves of that too. Here's another one. Oh, okay, two things. With all of this, with your attitude, I want you to know that you get to decide. When tough stuff happens, you get to decide if you're going to get determined or if you're going to be defeated. We don't have to find excuses. Life is full of excuses. They're there. The crappy stuff that happens, those are our excuses. We don't have to look for them. We don't have to make them. They're already there. What we have to find is solutions. And the solution, particularly with this business, when you get down or when something doesn't go your way or when you miss a goal or when you see a customer shopping with somebody else or you talk to somebody and you think they're going to sign and they don't, or then they tell you, oh, I'm going to sign with my friend who you didn't even know their friend was in the business. When those crappy things happen, you can let that get you defeated because those are all of your excuses right there. You worked hard, you put the effort in, you did everything you were supposed to do, and something crappy still happened. Or you can get determined. You cannot let that get you down. You can keep on going. You can move to the next thing. And in your business and in life, there are going to be times when it sucks. There's just things that really we don't have an explanation for or we don't have a reason for, and it just stinks. When those things happen, allow yourself time to mourn and time to grieve and time to pout or whatever you need to do. Give yourself that time and let yourself be okay experiencing those emotions. Our emotions are real. They're very real and they're very validated. So when we're upset about something or when we have those feelings, don't feel like you shouldn't have them because they're very real. They're very validated. But don't let yourself get so involved and wrapped up in them that they consume you. Give yourself a time frame. I'm going to take a day. I'm going to take a weekend. I'm going to take a week. With your business, I wouldn't say take a complete week off from your business because it will suffer. But mentally, emotionally, take the time that you need to experience the emotions of that situation. But literally give yourself a time frame. Okay, after 2 days or after this day or after a few hours, I'm going to go call my best friend. I'm going to call my sponsor. I'm going to call my accountability partner. I'm going to find, listen to a motivational speaker. I'm going to find some inspiration on a Pinterest board or something. Find something to get yourself remotivated, to get yourself back into the groove. Here's another one. You hear people say that motivation and inspiration is like showering. It doesn't last, so we recommend it daily. If you're not constantly feeding yourself with positivity, it will fade. It just does because times get hard. We get busy, life consumes us and we forget to, refill that tank of that positive energy that we need. Here's another saying. You've probably seen the one that says something like, it's about losing weight, and it says, being overweight is hard and losing weight is hard. You choose your hard. I feel like in this business, particularly if you're just getting started, and if you've been in it, a year or less, I feel like it's kind of the same thing. You choose your hard. It can be hard right now, or your life can be hard forever. I've got a lot of stuff going on, but I'm allowing myself to go through the hard right now, and I'm not letting my business take a back burner to everything else going on in life, because a few months of hard or a year of hard or 2 years of hard right now could set me up for the lifetime that I'm dreaming about, the lifetime of my goals, the things that I'm working for. I'm willing to sacrifice and put the work in and to deal with the hard right now, because I know that these things will get me the benefits that I want down the road. So you got to choose your hard. All of it's going to be hard. If you quit, it's going to be hard. You're going to, wonder a few months down the road, what if I wouldn't have? When things don't change, what if I would have stuck with it? Or um, what could have been? And I don't want any of you to ever have that what could have been thought. So I really encourage you to stick the heart out right now. It's going to be hard. Expect that. Expect it to be hard, and then when it gets easy, then you're like, oh, well, I thought this was going to be hard. This is another thing I tell my brother and my husband. I try to have lower expectations of people, of situations, of life. That way, if you are expectant to be down here and it comes in up here, you're impressed. You're like, wow, that wasn't as bad as I thought, or that was a whole lot better than I anticipated it being. But if you expect it to be up here and then it falls in down here, you're like, well, that stinks. You know, I wanted it to be better, or it didn't meet my expectations. It's almost like anticipate the worst and then you'll be pleasantly surprised. And if you kind of look at life and your business and anything that you're going through with that mindset, it makes things a little bit easier because you don't get your expectations up. I'm not saying, you know, in certain situations you shouldn't demand more or work for more or anticipate more, but I think if you are kind of more realistic, then you won't be as let down, or you won't take things as personally, or it won't be such a blow to yourself when things don't work out like you thought. So it really is all about attitude and about how you approach situations and what you do when the tough stuff happens. Okay, so this is one of the things that I wrote down. So because we're alive, life is hard. Are you going to do what it takes anyway? Are you going to do the hard stuff to get where you want to be? What are you willing to do to make your goals happen? The other thing I want to talk about is what to do when your team is negative, or they're experiencing some of these hard things, or they tell you, you know, I've tried everything and nothing's working, and they don't have this positivity about them. First of all, if you are a team leader, not the ranked team leader, but if you have a team, if you have a person under you, then you are a leader. You are in a leadership role. You set the tone for your team. From the very beginning, from your first interaction with them, you set the mood and lay everything out for them. So what messages are you sending out for your team? Are you welcoming them? Are your other team members supporting and welcoming them? Are you encouraging each other? I feel like from the very beginning, what we put out there is what our team is going to hang on to. It's like a first impression. You know, you can never change a first impression. You can never get it back. So I feel like the very beginning for those new team members is so critical. And you have to be positive. You have to talk about their goals. Talk about all that they can accomplish, all that they can achieve. You have to build your team up. You have to celebrate their accomplishments. And I don't even necessarily mean contests and achievements and rank advancements. If you know somebody on your team is terrified to go live and they go live, celebrate that. Celebrate the little things. Celebrate the person on your team that is constantly encouraging and motivating each other, other people, because she's important on your team, and the stuff that she's doing is critical to what everybody else is going to do. If you see somebody, posting on their personal page to get interaction, acknowledge those things. If you see somebody being consistent in their business, acknowledge that. Celebrate all of the little things. Get your team excited. Get them motivated and build them up, because that is where that positivity is going to stem from. And people like to be recognized. Where's Audra at? She can tell you from an orange standpoint. People like recognition. They like to be celebrated. They like to see their name. That's important to a lot of people. Sometimes those things are more important than a prize. I mean, we're all in this as a business for mostly for financial reasons, but that recognition and that, like I said, just seeing their name, those things really go a long way with people. If something is not up to your expectations, yeah, well, that's true. Not everybody is like that, but I would be willing to say that even if somebody does not thrive on recognition, that when they are recognized, for me, it's nice to know that I was noticed. Does that make sense? Like, I don't have to have, my husband's very much like a praise kind of person. I don't have to have that, but it's nice when I know that somebody else noticed my hard work. If you have an issue with something that's going on, if something didn't work out the way you thought it was gonna be, or you need to complain, never complain down. Always complain up. Meaning, never complain to your team. You have to be that positive role model, that leadership model for them. You could be having the worst day in the world, something that we thought was going to go one way with the company went another way, or one way with the launch went another way, or something didn't happen the way we thought. Complain up if you need to complain to somebody. Your sponsors are there for you for that reason, but you don't want to spread that to your team. Even if your BFF is on your team and you tell that person everything, if they're under you, you're still in a leadership role to that person. So you just want to keep that in the back of your mind. Also, surround yourself with positive people, with people that are going to have that same motivating energy and that positivity that you want to have. I saw this example, and I wish I could demonstrate it right now. I saw this when I was younger, and it was in a little bit different context, but the same meaning behind it, basically. So there was one person standing in a chair and one person standing on the ground. And the person standing in the chair, they told them to try to lift. They held hands. They told the person in the chair to try to lift the person off the ground. They couldn't do it. The person standing on the ground, they told them to pull the person from the chair down instantly. Think about that for a minute. If you are surrounding yourself with negative people, hoping that you can change them and that you can bring them up, and they are constantly pulling on you and pulling on you and pulling on you and pulling you down, they're going to pull you down. Because it's so much easier for them to pull you down than it is for you to pull them up. Now, as a leader, I'm not saying don't try. I think as a leader, first of all, you have to determine, do your team members want it? The ones that are complaining or negative, do they really want it? Are they willing to work for it? Do they really feel defeated and like they've really tried every single thing? Do you think that they've tried everything and something's just not clicking? At that point, is that something that we can take to another leader or to an accountability partner or somebody else in the business that might have some different ideas? Or is that person looking for excuses? And are they saying that they want it but not putting the work in? Because I promise you, if you want it for them but they don't want it for themselves, it's never going to happen. And the only thing it's going to do as a leader is wear you down by you trying to get that person there if they're not willing to put the work in and if they don't want it for themselves. If they've done all the right things, that's when you reach out to your leadership, to somebody else in the company. Hey guys, let's brainstorm. Help me. I've got this, a team member with this going on, or I personally have this going on. What can we come up with? There are so many incredible, talented women in our teams and in our upline that have done this business and have done other businesses successfully, that we have that wealth of knowledge that we can go to. So if it's truly an issue or a problem, absolutely utilize your resources. But if it's somebody who just wants to complain and wants to find the excuses, there comes a point you gotta let them go. Not, write them off, don't respond to them because, you're their leader. You still need to be there for them if they truly have an issue. But if it's that constant struggle of you trying to pull them up and they're just wearing you down, it's not worth your time. I've heard Katie say, I've heard other ones say, you got to decide to water or let wither. And if you've watered and watered and watered and watered and put in, and they're not absorbing it or taking it or doing with it what they need to, sometimes you got to let it go. Because it's not worth your time and energy if that person's not willing to do what they need to do. It really is a choice, guys. Your attitude is a choice. Not giving up is a choice. Yes, bless and release. And it is so hard. I'm blue, y'all. I'm nurturing. I'm mothering. It is one of the hardest things. I want to fix everybody. Not everybody really wants to be fixed. They might say they want to be fixed and they like the idea of being fixed. But the only person that can fix stuff is themselves. And they're not willing to put the work in themselves to get it fixed. Sorry, I talk a lot and then my mouth gets dry. But the attitude really is a choice. Like I said, crappy stuff's going to happen. Hard stuff's going to happen. But how we react to it is really up to us. Take the time that you need when you need it to get mad, to pout. Like I tell Tristan, you can be mad about it for a few minutes, but then you got to get over it. Yeah, we can't do it for them. It's so hard. I feel like in leadership for me, that is one of the hardest things, is I can't do it for them, and I can give them all that I've got, but I can't get them there. And that really is difficult. But I feel like at the same time that, still being there for that person if they decide to change, and if they decide to come back around, still being there for them and being that positivity and voice of encouragement and motivation, but at the same time knowing when to back off. And when you've done everything you can do, that's really the best thing you can do for those people that are just gonna pull you down. So I'm gonna wrap my part up with one last saying or phrase, or I guess it's a quote actually. But then if you guys have any questions, I'm here, and Audra's here. I think Debbie's here too. But I feel like it was just very fitting. I was looking through my phone yesterday, and I already had some ideas of the things that I wanted to say, and I was working on getting them down on paper. And then I found this quote, and everything I wanted to say to you just kind of came together and gelled. So this is a quote by William Arthur Ward, and it says, "The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change. The realist adjusts the sails." That spoke volumes to me. Guys, you have to be the realist. You can't complain about it. You can't expect somebody else to do it for you or to do it on its own. You got to figure it out, make the changes necessary, and just keep on going. That's how you get to your goals. You adapt, you keep on going. So that's all I have for you guys. But I'm here if you guys have anything for me, if you have any questions. And I've talked a lot, so I don't want to keep you guys all night, but I'll give you a second to see. Yeah, sometimes that's all it takes. People just like to know that other people see their hard work. And like I said, sometimes that's all that it takes. One little comment or post or, moment of recognition could be all that it takes to set somebody on fire on your team. Oh, thank you. I hope this is what you were looking for when you asked me to do this, Audra. If it's not, it's what came to my heart. So, and like I said, that quote kind of tied it all together for me and just like gave me everything that I needed. Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. I know it's hard, especially, you know, us that have multiple hats, to fit these trainings in and to watch everything that's put out there for us from our leaders. So I really do appreciate you watching and giving me your time and giving your business your time. I do hope that it's some kind of inspiration and motivation for you. If any of you, like I said in the beginning, if any of you ever need me, if you need a sounding board, I don't know, a piece of advice, anything that I can have to offer, I promise you, you can send me a message. I will be here. Life is crazy, so I may not respond immediately, but I eventually will get to it. Some days are crazier than others, and sometimes I have my phone in my hands, and sometimes it might be a few hours, but that's kind of how we do this business. That's why it works for me. Yeah, the world is negative, but you know, the more positive that we can be, and if we can make that, if you can make positivity kind of your default, then when those other negative things happen around you and in the world, if you, it's like a habit, you know, once you make positivity and that attitude and that mindset and just continuing to persevere, once you make that your habit, then that's what your brain defaults to when those negative, crappy things happen around you. Alright guys, so I'm going to get ready to wrap this up, but just remember that quote. Be the realist, adjust your sails, make it work, go for it. Don't ever give up on your goals because you can do it. I promise you. Alright, y'all have a good night. Thanks again for watching. See you guys soon.